Welcome to Attorney911, the podcast. With attorney Ralph Manginello, let's get some answers to the most asked questions. We break down the legal issues and provide expert advice to help you navigate life's legal challenges. You might even call us your first responder to a legal emergency. Up next, real-world cases, valuable insights, and practical tips you can use today. It's time to get smart like a lawyer.
Hey, Leonor.
Hi, Mr. Manginello. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy that you're on our Attorney911 podcast that we've been talking about for so long during, and we're finally doing it.
I know, it's such a huge level up.
I know. I love it. So I want to introduce you as our superstar lead case manager for the past 2 years at Attorney911, the Manginello law firm. Happy anniversary. I think it was Sunday.
Yes.
It's awesome.
I'm so excited. That's such a huge achievement.
It's a huge achievement. And wanted to let everyone know that you're extremely passionate about helping people, not just at Attorney911, but in the community. And you've taken your Attorney911 platform and your spirit and your mission to helping people in legal emergencies to a whole nother level in the community with your community outreach. Not only, with storm stuff that happens here all the time, but just when somebody needs something, you're the person that we can all count on and your community can count on, when somebody needs help. And so that's the first thing I want to talk about is what drives you, or when I guess it's since you're a kid maybe or a young adult, what drives you to help your community like that?
Better fix that earpiece, boss. So I would say leadership is what led me in the right direction. The same way that you didn't give up on me and you pushed me and motivated me. I mean, just growing up with law and order and being able to fight for somebody that cannot fight for themselves, as soon as they call, they can depend on us, depend on me. If they're at the hospital, if they just got into an accident and they need help, they can call, they can even text the same phone number and text 911 and I will call and show up. It's really hard at times. And sometimes we get such an adrenaline rush or we're so traumatized, we forget these important steps that we need to take. So I like to go in and assist people by taking, the stress off of their shoulders, the frustration, and to put a smile on someone's face and know that if they remember Attorney911 and to be a part of that, it just pushes me. It drives me more.
I know you're amazing. I don't know how you do it, but I can literally text you at, 9 something at night and ask you a question. You're like, you either have the answer or you're like, hold on, let me get you the answer. And I didn't mean you to answer it now. You can answer it tomorrow. I'm just thinking about it. So
yeah, to be completely honest as well, when we get the calls and when it happens, again, just to be there for somebody, to be able to help them and impact their life. I love, love, love helping people because some can speak on it, but have you lived it? And I've lived it to where you don't know what to do. You don't have no support. You can't get an accident. You can't get a hold of an attorney. You get the runaround or you have to pay a consultation fee. It's too much to go through when all you need is help and guidance. And I love to be able to provide that support for the clients.
So let's talk about it. For instance, people get screwed over by insurance companies. They get in a collision and their car's damaged. They can't drive it. They got to go to work. They got to take their kids to school. How should someone that's been in a collision handle their property damage to make sure that the insurance gets their car fixed right away?
I think what would be really important that a lot of us don't realize when we have UMUIM, which is uninsured motorists and underinsured motorists. So when there's a case, and you're paying for this monthly and they're not sure liability hasn't been established, liability can take a couple of days to a couple of weeks. But if they have their own personal insurance and we're waiting on liability, I would say go through your insurance. Go through your insurance and use your uninsured motor UIM claim.
Right. And so for people that, we have these buzzwords and we talk about them because we're in the industry, but UIM or uninsured or underinsured coverage means that it's your insurance that you pay for monthly to cover yourself if someone else doesn't have insurance or doesn't have enough insurance, right? And so you're saying that go ahead and get your car fixed sometimes under your own insurance while the person that hits you, their insurance is trying to figure out if they're going to pay for it.
Yes, Ralph, because they can go ahead, your insurance, once they take care of you, can also submit a subrogation lien against the third party. And they can collect from third party what is owed to them since they had to fix your vehicle.
Right.
And sometimes can assist you, with that rental that you may need. But again, that's what we're here for. Because if sometimes you're not comfortable and wanting to go through your insurance, then you have somebody like me on your side, somebody from our firm, and we're going to chat daily, all day, every day.
I know you are.
Until we get an answer. Like they don't realize how much it can really change someone's life. From taking their kids to school, from getting to work, going to get to the grocery store, going to go pay their bills. It changes someone's life around, and adjusters don't take it as serious as, and I can only speak for our law firm, but take it as serious as we do. So if you can't, and it's just that important to lean on to us because we're not going to stop. We're going to call them every day, all day, until we get you the assistance that you need. That's the support that we are.
Yeah. And one thing I think that we also tell people to do is, you do have to be proactive, right? Like, even if you don't hire a lawyer, you're going to have to call every day. You're going to have to bug those insurance adjusters, tell them your story. And I've told you this a bunch of times, stories matter. When you get on the phone, not you, but you and the clients that we're talking about or people that are in car collisions, you get on the phone with an adjuster, tell them your story. Tell them you have 3 kids that need to be to practice and to school. You don't have a car and you have work. You have to support your family. Tell them your story. The more you tell them about your story, the more you have the chance of them actually hearing you and understanding where you're coming from and trying to help you. Because if you just call them and say, I want my car fixed, or I want this, or I want that, there's still people at the end of the day, and your story is going to maybe change that. So that's kind of one of the tricks of the trade that we do. I tell, everyone that works for us, like when you get on the phone with someone, you got to tell them why you're calling and what you want. So that means tell them a story. Tell them the story of Mrs. Smith, why she needs her car fixed so soon, what's going on, and have them, feel what the other person's feeling. So I know you do a great job of that. And that's important to us. We do take the time, you do for sure, take the time to make sure the other party knows what the situation is and how urgent this legal emergency is. So,
yes.
The other thing about property damage is, what if, back to the UIM thing, what if people say to you, you tell them, hey, just get your car fixed under your own insurance. Like, well, I don't want my insurance to go up.
Right. So I explained to them that this is something that they paid for monthly. This is something that, in just in case it happens. So at times, I believe it's the best option for them to do is to use the insurance. Of course, they can tell them, well, it's going to make it go up, but you're not the one that's at fault.
Right. So it's just important that they make it clear to their insurance company, I wasn't at fault. The other insurance company is taking too long. Again, tell them the story and tell you what your car fixed. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't even know whether they have that coverage or not, right?
Right. And
So
at
how do
times,
you check?
how do we expect?
Yeah, I mean, so when you're talking to a client or someone you're helping, and you're telling them, what to do, and they're like, "Well, I don't know if I have that." What do you tell them?
You can talk to your insurance yourself and request your deck page and let them know. And on your deck page, it'll say, whether you rejected it, because sometimes it could be a little tricky. So if you don't recall signing it, you don't recall, giving any kind of, no, I don't want it, then we can also request those forms to see if your signature was on the form and you were aware of it. But it is something to go ahead and look up and see if you have it, because it is something that would be very beneficial to the future in case you do get in an accident.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in Texas, I'm not sure many people know this either, but in Texas, the law requires you to sign off and waive that coverage. And if you don't sign off on the waiver, then the insurance company has to provide you that coverage that you're paying for, which you may not know you're paying for it. But if you didn't sign that waiver, then they're required to pay to provide it for you. So always double check. If you get in a collision and you're not sure, call your insurance company, tell them to send you, what coverage you had. And if there's not a signed waiver, then you do have that uninsured or underinsured coverage.
Yes.
Um, so other than the property damage issue, and that's definitely a legal emergency, I want to talk to you briefly. I know you live in Pasadena, and there was that huge explosion recently at that plant or the pipeline in the port, right?
Yes, it was really big. Got an automatic, it's somewhere to evacuate because of how serious this explosion was. And all these chemicals that got released into the air. I mean, it was just so horrific to go over there and experience how huge this fire was, how many families that were nearby, how many houses that were nearby, children, stores, and could be walking around and, not feeling their best self as they normally would, and not even realizing that they've been affected.
So what ended up, what was the summary of what happened? What caused that explosion?
So a person drove into the fence. They show that in the beginning she's going very slowly, and then all of a sudden just hits it and goes straight into the fence, into a pipe. It wasn't very secured. It was like a thin metal fence. So it wasn't very secured, but to be able to drive in and hit a pipeline and make it explode, and it burned for 3 days. 3 days. So 3 days, all those chemicals are going in the air, cars that are melting that were in a distance from the explosion. But that's where we go. If all us may let us know, we're there to go and help.
Yeah. Tell me about the car melting. How did the car melt?
It was parked near a dentist's office that was in the area because the pipeline was pretty close to the Walmart. So it was behind the Walmart. And so there's another office location that was a dentist's office. So the client's vehicle, the heat, the fire, how hot it was, because it went for so long, and how close these vehicles were to this pipeline, which to me, that's pretty dangerous to have near the community so close. Melted the car, broke the windows, melted the metal. It's melted, and it's like that was a brand new car. The client had only had the car for a couple of weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And that's traumatizing for her. But she was good. She went through her insurance and she got them going and working on it mighty quick.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. Well, and I know you were there. I mean, that day you actually drove to talk to her, and you actually saw the fire down the street. So that must have been scary.
It was, because there was one that I assisted with the vehicle, but there was one that needed to go to the hospital right away. Didn't have transportation, asked if I could give her a ride. And of course, I'm going to provide that support. Because again, Attorney911, we're that support system. And I'm glad to give it, to be able to make somebody else's day a better day. It just means so much more.
Well, thank you for everything you've done, obviously for our clients, but the firm, and being an outstanding employee and lead case manager and friend.
Well, thank you so much. But you know me, I always have something to say, right? So I think it's really, really important when they hear this podcast, right? Working the cases and adjusters. I think it's really important when you get involved in this collision, make sure that not only are you quick to call 911, but unfortunately, not all of them take the time to do the report. So it's highly important for them to take a picture of the VIN number of the vehicle that hit them, the license plate number on the defendant, plus the damages, whoever was the one that was at fault and hit them. Those are two very, very important things. VIN number and license plate number. But in the midst of it all, you can always take pictures of the inside of your car. Let's say you have a drink in your cup holder, or your purse is on the seat, or your laptop, and you get into it and it all falls to the ground. It spills everywhere. That shows how hard that collision was.
That's a good point.
Because you might have a strong body on your vehicle and it might do a little bit of a dent. But if everything flew in that car, then that was a hard hit. So these just a few points, look out for. Next time, I'll give you some more. But for right now, those are some pretty important key points that'll just help me fight for you even more.
That's a great point. So call the police for sure to get a report made. Take lots of pictures of not only the outside damage, but the inside of your car, and then document the other person's vehicle, license plate, and VIN number. Awesome advice. Well, thanks a lot. And I know I'll talk to you either later or tomorrow. Have a great day. And thank you, Leonor, for everything you do.
And thank you for being the best boss possible that led me to an area in my life I never thought that I could make. And to be able to see my growth, I can't thank you enough, besides, of course, God. So thank you.
Awesome. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
You just learned something new. Attorney911, the podcast, with attorney Ralph Manginello. We hope you found today's conversation insightful and helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode, and share it with family and friends who might benefit from the things we talk about. A new podcast launches every week. That means you get more legal tips, real-life cases, and expert advice. This is Attorney911, the podcast.